last time we were sitting here, the first time and the second time, you were pretty satisfied with the team. Therefore, I'm going to ask you the first question. How satisfied are you at the beginning of the year 2015?
Well, I think we're satisfied. You know, obviously we feel that we can be better. You know, our goal is to get better, especially this time of the year. We understand now that the chances of us being a playoff team are very good, and the focus for us changes a little bit now, and that now we're trying to prepare ourselves for that without losing focus of where we are right now. So it's a little bit of a different sort of push for us moving forward here. But we're real pleased with where we're at, and the job right now is to make sure that really we have the pace in our game. I think that's the biggest thing come playoff time. You know, the games right now are going to give us a chance to get battle tested, which I think we need to be for playoffs. So it's good that we're playing close games right now. Makes us a better team. But we got to make sure that we're able to sustain our pace and that we're good away from the puck, because offense is not always reliable. And we want to make sure that we reinforce that with our guys.
I talked to a couple of players, and they were telling me, even though they're the #1 team in the league, overwhelmingly #1 team, they said you always find a way to motivate them to go into the next game like a playoff game. Can you tell us a little bit about your secrets, how you motivate a team that is way better, obviously, by the standing than the rest of the league?
Yeah, I think, you know, there's a couple of things. Number one, there's always reasons to win games. You know, and I think you really have to focus on that little bit of time. And then the other thing is that we try to keep it. You know, we've always talked about a day-by-day focus, but when we're talking things now, you know, we go on the road, we're talking about, okay, let's take a look at this road trip only. You know, so what do we need to do in this first game to set up a good trip, and what do we need to do in the second game? Or, you know, we always try to pose it to the guys so there's a little bit of a challenge in there so that they're focusing only on that section of time. And I think when you take a look at a whole season, especially at this time of year when you sort of like the dog days of January, when things can get routine, guys get bored, we need to make it so that it's fresh. We need to keep the guys focused, you know, on little sections. And if we can do that, then their motivation seems to look after itself.
So this is one of the secrets, and I think the players understand that. When we look at the stats, which part of the stats do you like the most?
Well, for me, the most important stat for me is the goal differential. And I think, you know, when you take a look at teams' goal differentials and where they are in the standings, oftentimes they almost set up identically. And they, you know, when I was in the NHL, that's what we looked at a lot too, was, you know, the goal differential. And so we really wanted to focus on that a lot. And it always guaranteed us that we were going to be in the playoffs. So the fact that we're real high in the goals for and goals against, I think that's a real telling stat for us.
A lot of questions in the last few weeks have been around the power play. How much do you hate that question?
Well, it's, you know what, it's pertinent, obviously, because the power play does have to get better. And I think we're starting to see some signs. We're starting to score some goals again on the power play. But the biggest thing for me is I think we just need to relax. And as they say in boxing, let our hands go. I think right now there's a little bit of a mental block for our guys on it, so that when we get on the power play, we actually slow down. Where we should be, you know, playing with more speed, we're actually slowing down. We're allowing the box to reset because we're looking for the perfect play. And I think if we can get the speed going again, get our hands going, let them go, just, you know, get pucks to the net, get bodies to the net like we do 5-on-5, it'll be fine. So the last thing we want to do right now is harp on it. You know, it's a thing where we need to build the confidence of our players with it, but we're confident that, you know, once that happens, the power play will be fine again, you know, as it was early. So it does need to be better, but we're seeing signs, and for us, that's a good thing.
I remember that you said in a press conference, or rather a press meeting, that you'd rather be the best team shorthanded than the best team in power play. Is that still the case?
Oh, absolutely. You know, the power play is going to be, even if you have a good one, it's going to go and it's not going to go. It's going to go and it's not going to go. The penalty kill is reliable. If you have a good penalty kill, then oftentimes you can negate the power play of the other team anyway. So we just want, you know, we just want to make sure that our power play is creating chances. We're not so concerned about the, you know, the percentage of it. And I think people get caught in that number an awful lot. We want to make sure that when we get on the ice, the power play is giving our team momentum. It's creating scoring chances for us. If that's happening, eventually you're going to score. The problem with our power play lately is that that's not the case all the time. So the fact that we're starting to score again, we're starting to generate some chances, means it's moving in the right direction. But it's an area for us that we need to make sure it gets better before the end of the year.
Mannheim Adler is not the fairest team in the league, looking at that stat. But when I look at the kind of penalties you get, there's roughing on first, which is not a real major. It's a major penalty in this case, but it's not something you can talk about. But I would rather talk about hooking and slashing, which is normally an indication that a team is not running the way they should be. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I do. And I think the biggest thing for me and for our guys and for the coaching staff is that we're seeing a lot of these type of penalties happen at the end of long shifts. So it's more of an indication to me that we're overstaying the time that we're on the ice. So if you've got to reach out and hook a guy or you've got to slash a guy, probably means you're chasing them. And for us, we want to make sure that we're in control of our stick. But if we're on the ice for the amount of time that we should be and we're not overextending our shifts, then those infractions often take care of themselves and they go away.
You're number one in the league. Would that be a goal to go as number one into the playoff, or is that not in your mind at all? You just go and say, I prepare the team for the playoff. That's the most important thing for me.
For me, that's the most important thing. I think that our guys have done a tremendous job. We don't want to take anything away from them in terms of how hard they've worked to be number one in the league right now. And I think it's well earned by them because we haven't taken very many nights off. We've been able to come back from losses with good wins. Like all the things that you need, we've been a pretty good rebound team. So we're extremely pleased and proud of our players that they've been able to do that. But right now we have to make sure that we're focusing on where we're getting to as a playoff team. So if we happen to end up first, that's great. But it's ultimately not where we want to go on our journey. We want to make sure, as I said, we're rested for the playoffs and we're playing our best hockey of the year. And for us, really, that's the focus here over the last 15 games.
Coming to my last question, coming back to the stats. You guys won 3 games after you were behind beginning of the third period, but you only lost one when you were up beginning of the last period. Right. Is that a thing of a character of the team? I
think so. I mean, we don't want to put ourselves in a hole like we did in Wolfsburg last week, 4-0 down to come back and win a game. It's nice that the guys have the confidence that they can do that. And certainly if we're down 1 or 2 goals in the third, the fact that we've been able to come back from those deficits gives our guys confidence that it's something that we can do. And so it should help us just to play harder. But that's really where it stops and ends, or starts and ends, sorry. But the biggest thing for us is that we want to make sure that we establish our game early so that we have more of a chance to play with a lead. And the fact that we've been able to protect leads in the third period is a good sign.
Thank you very much, Geoff.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.